Hey guys, it's Sam here, and today I wanted to talk about Steven Gerrard's sacking. Last night, after the Fulham game, Aston Villa announced that they had sacked Steven Gerrard. Yeah, it's it's gutting. I'm gutted for him because he clearly wanted it to work, but it just didn't. The results and the performances weren't great for a long time now, and Villa felt the need to change. The one thing that I will say is that hindsight is a funny thing, because we know it's gone wrong now. We can say that he probably should have stayed at Rangers. The difference between Villa and Rangers was Rangers gave him time. When he came in, it was his first job, and Rangers were miles off Celtic. They weren't even close to challenging Celtic. So, pretty much, they just said to him, come in and, get us closer, close the gap. Get that gap down, and you will have succeeded. He ended up winning the title in 3 years. In his third year, they won the league, which was more than I think anyone thought possible for him and for I don't think there were many fans that thought he will win us a title, so it it is a very, very interesting one, to say the least, because he was there less than a year. He didn't even get a full year. And, it's a cruel job being a manager, because you don't get time. But then sometimes you do. It depends on the owners, it depends on fans, it also depends on the club itself and where the club is at. Under a year is not enough time. Yes, it's not started well. Yes, they're 17th, and at the minute they are in a relegation scrap. But he very easily could have turned it around. You think January isn't that far away. Some key areas, some good plays in key areas. Things change. I think he was unlucky because he clearly looked at his back line and said that needed strengthening. Brought in Diego Carlos, who was linked with many, many teams, including some of the top teams in Europe. They got him in. Was unfortunate that he got injured early in his Villa career, and unfortunate that it's a long-term one as well. you know, I feel for him, because I'm always going to feel for him, because, you know, he's a Liverpool legend, and one day, like the majority of Liverpool fans, I want to see Gerrard in the hot seat at Liverpool. I want to see him be manager of Liverpool. What he needs to do now is he needs to go away, have a break, analyse so what went wrong at Villa, and find a job, not jump straight back into management. Find a job where the fans are going to take to him, and he's also going to be given time by both the fans and the owners to put his stamp on the team, bring in his own players, you know, mould his philosophy into that club. Because it takes more than a year. You know, it took Jurgen Klopp 3 years before we even got close to anything that we are now. You know, the first thing he did when he walked in, addressed the fans and said, give us time. Because if you give us time, it can work. Just stick with us. We're going to have bad patches. It's not going to be great. But I need time to, you know, work this team, bring in my own players. But time is all I need. And if you give me time, I can deliver success. We gave him time. He's delivered success. And now he deserves all the time in the world to do whatever. You know, he should be leaving Liverpool on his own terms. Not fans hounding him out, not owners sacking him. He deserves to go. When it's time, it's time. Because for everything he's done for this club, we cannot thank him enough. And that's the only way we really can thank him, is by saying, when you leave, you leave. You don't get sacked and we don't force you out. You know, you go on your own accord. Sorry, I'm still battling a cold, as you can probably tell. It's not great. But yeah, so you know, that's what Gerrard needs next, is, you know, an owner and a fan base and a club that are going to give him time. Because that's what Rangers did. Rangers gave him time. Rangers were willing to give him time to see what he could do. They gave him time, he won the title. You know, the law, the Premier League, the fact that he's, you know, been his dream to manage in the Premier League, brought him away from Rangers. You know, if that didn't happen, he would still be Rangers manager. You know, that's the sort of thing we're at. But yeah, like I said, he just needs to not jump straight back in. Give it time. Wait for the right moment. Make sure that the fans are going to embrace him and give him that time. And the owners are going to give him time. Because that's what managers need. A lot of managers just need time. Because a lot of the time it's not just an overnight fix. You get that new manager bounce that I've mentioned before. But then when they've been there for a little bit, it sort of wears off. And then we see the type of mentality a player or a squad has. And I look at that Villa team and I think a lot of those players were the same players that threw Dean Smith under the bus because they weren't performing. you know, and now they've gone and done the same with Gerrard. And I mean, I don't think it was going to work out, if I'm being honest. From I don't know if Villa really took to Gerrard, and I don't know if Gerrard really took to Villa either. I think there was a little bit of not hatred or not like, but a little bit of tension, I would say, on both sides towards each other. And even just a little bit of tension, you know, that just spells a recipe for disaster. And I mean, you see at the weekend they lost, and you know, he didn't acknowledge the fans. You know, that is a problem, you know. Even if you lose, even if it's by a heavy margin, and you've got smashed 8-0 and you're deflated, you still acknowledge the fans, you appreciate the fans coming, supporting. He didn't do that, so, you know, I don't think that was the only time he didn't acknowledge them. Which is problems, and like I said, there were problems on both sides, but it just isn't going to work if that happens, and obviously didn't, and he's gone. But who is going to be the next manager for Villa? Personally, like, they've been linked with Pochettino. It would be a very good appointment if they got Pochettino. You know, Premier League experience with Southampton and Tottenham. You know, a Champions League manager. You know, good experience in there. Yes, he's not won it, but good experience. You know, and he's a pretty big name, so he could attract some pretty big players to Villa. Whether or not he would feel Villa is a step down, who knows, but at times some managers can't be picky. You know, they need a job, and sometimes they just have to go to a place that maybe wasn't on their radar. But I'd imagine he would be Villa's number one. If not, you know, Rafa's still available, Sean Dyche is still available. Are they Villa type managers? I mean, what is a Villa manager anyway? You know, they could be, you know, they could do good jobs, but I think really Villa want to see them higher up the table. And I think, to be honest, the only one out of them that I think would fit Villa would be Pochettino. So I'd imagine they'd go all out for him. But it's whether or not he wants to go there. What's next for Gerrard? As I've said, you know, he needs that just to take a break and not jump straight back in, and make sure he gets to a club that is going to give him that chance and that time, and you know, at least 3 or 4 windows to really, you know, bring in his own players and mould his team in the way that he wants it. Possibly the Championship could be the way to go. You know, might have just jumped a little bit too fast for the Premier League. I don't know if he was really ready for that. You know, managing in the Scottish Premiership and the English Premiership is very, very different. You know, the English Premiership is a lot higher quality and a lot harder league than the Scottish League. You know, that is vastly important to remember. But, you know, he had some good moments at Villa, but, you know, I think maybe the Championship, if he can get a team out of the Championship, get them promoted, keep them in the Premier League, that could be a very good, you know, market for him. You know, he, as a manager, he's still a fairly young manager, so, you know, that Liverpool job will be his one day. But we want him in when he has experience and he's a good manager. And, you know, Jurgen not going anywhere anytime soon. His contract's up to 2026, so he's not going anytime soon. So, no. Even then, you know, it could go longer, or it could just be 2026. But then, I still don't know. Even if he has a good 3 years, even then, I don't know if it'll be right to jump straight into him. You know, he just needs that confidence booster he got when he was at Rangers. He needs that back in a club that are going to be like Rangers. They're going to support him, going to give him that time, and where he's going to really thrive. But yeah, I think that's it. You know, got in, but you know, hopefully we see him back in management soon, and yeah, he can find the right club for him. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the